Broadcasting live from atop the Rocky Mountains, the crossroads of the West. You are listening to the Liberty Roundtable Radio Talk Show.
What do they call this guy? De Lafayette? Yes, indeed, ladies and gentlemen. Interesting allies. Stand for liberty. Pray for peace. Update on the on-again, off-again war. Fauci and company. Lindsey Graham and company. Is Trump going to institute a military draft? Well, we need a seamless commitment, ladies and gentlemen, from the Declaration to the Constitution. Happy to have you along, my fellow Americans. It is a freedom-loving, fantastic, faith-filled, we're taking America back, one heart, one mind, one issue at a time Friday. What does that mean? It means the good doctor's in the house. Dr. Scott Bradley with me, freedomsrisingsun.com. Welcome back, sir.
Well, thank you very much, Sam. I hope all is well in your world. And, of course, everyone that's listening, we would wish them well also.
We are prospering, sir, and that doesn't always mean money. Welcome to the show.
Well, you're still drawing breath, it sounds like.
Yes, indeed, and we're fired up and ready to go. You had your weekly webinar last night, right?
We did indeed.
Well, let me ask you a question then. Did you talk about Lafayette?
I didn't. It wasn't an issue that came up.
Do you know what's going on with this?
Well, I remember
I'm hoping to
Lafayette
catch Dr. Bradley by surprise for once in my entire life.
Yeah, Lafayette was a pretty good ally back in the 1770s.
Yeah, but do you know what the significance is?
Say again?
Do you know what the significance is? Why I'm bringing it up?
No.
Oh, my. For once, ladies and gentlemen, I got the drop on the doctor. Can you believe this? This is outrageous. Listen, July 31st, that's today, right?
It is indeed.
All right. 1777, ladies and gentlemen. Mr. Lafayette basically got a commission. He was a passionate supporter of the American cause. He financed his own voyage to America because he wanted to be involved. He was so excited. He initially received an honorary rank, and then Benjamin Franklin's recommendation to George Washington helped foster a close and enduring relationship between Lafayette and George Washington. And it basically shaped the revolution, changed the revolution. His expertise and knowledge and everything else played a huge part in not only, one, getting our troops ready, and two, getting support from the French for the Revolutionary War. And so the 19-year-old French aristocrat joined the American Revolution as a major general. And I guess that's the day celebrated for that event, Doctor, today, 1777.
Well, just as a couple little side notes on Lafayette.
Isn't that pretty cool that I found something that the doctor wasn't, ready for? He probably knows it. He just forgot it,
Well, no, here's the deal. Lafayette has a storied history among Americans.
Yes, sir.
And he was an instrumental mover and shaker in bringing about our liberty for so many reasons, as you've touched upon on a couple of them. But he also outfitted his own ship and everything to bring it here to America. I mean, this was a guy
that funded his whole own voyage to get here.
And on top of that, this is one thing that when you said Lafayette, this is where my mind went. Of course, all of the things back in the Revolutionary War. But just last night, one of my daughters sent me a Cologne history. George Washington's Cologne. It was formulated back in 1772. He used it all of his life. But the thing that's connected to Lafayette is that Washington used to give this Cologne to various diplomats and, muckety-mucks that came to the United States. And he made this a gift to Lafayette. So that's where my mind went. And I'm thinking, how the heck would you know about a cologne that was developed in 1772 and shared with Lafayette by Washington, and it was actually George Washington's cologne for his lifetime after 1772.
Do you have the cologne?
Here's what the little write-up says. Fastidious
Hold on. Do you have the cologne?
I don't have it, but my daughter does. She just got a supply of it. I mean, supply. It's not cheap, but
does it smell good?
I haven't had a chance to smell it yet. I got to go over to my daughter's place today and find out what it's like.
All right. See, this is awesome. We need to start selling the Dr. Bradley, George Washington Cologne collection. You know what I'm talking about? We could reformulate it, right?
Well, no, it goes back to the handwritten formulation. It used essential oils.
Can we recreate it?
Well, they have. I mean, it's still in existence, and it's a formulation. This is a quotation from the written material she got: a vibrant citrus and spice blend. And so it's here's what it says: fastidious about personal hygiene and how he presented himself, Washington happened to Dr. Hunter's shop, encountered the scent, and immediately took a liking to it. He became a lifetime customer. So he bought bottles of it as gifts, and
they really created it. He just kind of discovered it, though. It wasn't his formulation or whatever. I see. Okay.
Well, this guy, the doctor that created it, he did 6 different formulations until he hit on the one he really liked. I'm just kind of reading from what my daughter sent me last night. It's just weird that you bring it up today because
I just brought it up because Lafayette. It's kind of the day that today is the celebration day for when he became, or when on July 31st, 1777, they basically appointed him a major general. So this is critical. Well, this is good news, man.
Well, and it allows people to smell exactly what the first president smelled like centuries ago, in case you're interested. I'm going to have to go over to her house today.
Kind of like the male version of lemon verbena, isn't it?
What's that? I mean, I guess it don't smell good.
Lemon verbena was the old perfume that women used to love and wear back in the early days.
Really,
yes, sir. It's called lemon verbena. Go look it up. In fact,
Wow,
one year for Christmas,
Sam,
me and my wife got our daughters lemon verbena perfume.
This is an eclectic show. You guys never know what you're going to get.
Hey, man, Liberty Roundtable, it's live, baby. Telling you right now. All right, so you're going to go to your daughters and check out that cologne. I'm just telling you that Lafayette was critical, absolutely critical in turning the revolution around. The Lord sent him, in my view, Doctor.
Well, I think that the fortuitous events couldn't have been just, serendipity, happenstantial, Big Bang Theory kind of things. I think this all came together according to a plan, and I'm absolutely convinced, and the founders were too, that God had an unending influence on the founding of this nation. And so absolutely, they wrote that, they said it, they acted like it. It was just amazing. And as Franklin said during the convention, if a sparrow cannot fall to the ground without his knowledge, is it probable an empire can arise without his aid? And he moved that they have prayer every day in the convention. There were so many interventions by God, and it didn't just happen in the convention. It was all throughout the war. Even though they didn't win a whole bunch of big campaigns on the battlefield, somehow they survived to fight again. And you know what? In the long run, it all paid off.
There you have it. Did you hear about this Supreme Court justice that said he's not convinced we're a Christian nation?
Well, I didn't give it, okay. Yeah, I heard about it. I didn't give it much time because opinions are like noses, and you could say about other things.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of has one, and so opinions are opinions, and I guess, I don't know, there's so many other momentous things, but just because somebody says doesn't make it so.
What I had kind of done is covered it and basically said, hey, he has every right to think what he wants to. Everybody can debate this till the cows come home. There's all kinds of statements both directions about, the views. For example, they say, hey, government shouldn't establish or deny religion in the First Amendment. And, you can say all kinds of things like the Constitution doesn't really mention Christianity. You can make things say what you want to if you just tailor the story. And so Americans need to decide which story they subscribe to. And I'm just saying that I subscribe to, hey, every one of the founding fathers was looking for truth, discovering truth, gaining knowledge. Benjamin Franklin is probably the greatest example. He had a very religious upbringing, but he kind of departed from it and went the science way for a while. Had people around him that influenced him for good, and eventually, as he ended his life, he was one of the greatest supporters that God was involved in our lives and a great support of Christian principles. And so, everybody kind of has their own path. But I would say this fundamental reality. When we keep the 10 Commandments and the 2 Great Commandments, we are blessed as a society. It's clear. And anybody can see it in anybody's life. When you do that, your life is blessed. When you don't do that, you know what? It's difficult to prosper. It's difficult to progress. And so, call it whatever creed you want. If you're Vivek Ramaswamy and you're not a Christian, we still need to agree that the moral principles that a greater source brought to our understanding and gave us sovereignty, that's key. And I think it's really important where they talk about God and nature's God, because their goal was not to dig into the theological details and divide. Their goal was to bring us together. And I believe that when they brought this up, I believe that the talk show host, shame on her, I think she was just trying to divide. We better not let it stick. Dr. Bradley with me. Hold on, everybody.
Cybercrime is exploding. Take Sarah from Sweet Delights, whose world crumbled after having to close with not being able to bounce back. Small businesses are prime targets, but the right strategies can keep yours safe. Jay Hill, CEO of Network Providers, has co-authored The Cyber Playbook Simplifies Cybersecurity for Business Owners with Strategies to avoid costly breaches and fines. Build a strong cyber attack response. Secure your business with key protections. Cyber threats aren't slowing down, but you can stay ahead. Protect your business. Ensure its security for tomorrow. Get the Cyber Playbook today at networkprovidersinc.com/cyber-playbook or call 385-446-5500 now.
As you are aware, America is divided over every fault line possible. This is intentionally fostered by those who do not love God, family, or country. We believe a peaceful future as a free people absolutely depends on civility. Clarion Call for Civility is looking for funding and volunteers at every level to make our hopes and efforts a reality. Please donate, sign our pledge, and help us in our sacred cause. Please visit callforcivility.com for more details. Callforcivility.com.
All right, so it was on firing line Margaret Hoover or whatever, and she basically said, hey, do you believe we're a white Christian nation? And then he basically said, no, I just don't see it that way. I believe that they were just trying to divide, because, see, when you say white, if you say yes, then you're a racist. If you say no, you don't believe in the Christian nation. I believe they set a trap for the justice, and no matter how he answered, it wouldn't go well, ladies and gentlemen. And so I believe he strategically answered in the no, because then, hey, he includes everybody in that. And if he said yes, he's a racist. And so I just believe it was a trap intentionally set for him. And I would have basically said, you're playing games and mixing terms. Why throw race in there, you racist pig? Stop it. And then, do I believe we're a Christian nation? Absolutely, sir. Absolutely, ma'am. Yes, I do. But I'm not going to take your race bait. And shame on you for even doing this. So anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because I think it was an intentional effort to divide and trap the justice is what I think, Doctor.
Well, yeah, before we leave this subject, perhaps I can make a comment or two in regards to it. Jefferson, of course, is denominated a deist by most, but Jefferson in his own Bible wrote, I am a Christian. Jefferson had a little booklet he had put together that he read every evening before he went to sleep. His family didn't even know about it. It was the words of Jesus Christ in all the original languages. So they were he could read it in Aramaic or Hebrew or whatever, or Greek. But he was definitely a Christian. He considered himself to be a sect of one because he believed the words of Christ more fervently than all of the other perversions that had happened. He called him that. He was not impressed with the spin that most theologians had put on religion.
And sadly, it's easy to see why, right?
Absolutely, unequivocally. And so he and Adams both opined that in their later years that the world was primed for a restoration of Christ's original gospel. But they both lamented that they would probably miss it because of their advanced age. But the fact of the matter is, there was a high religiosity in the nation, and in fact, there were 7 colonies that became states that had state religions when the Bill of Rights was ratified in 1791. And so there was, but there were Congregationalists, so there were Anglican, but they were all foundationally a Christian religion. But the fact of the matter is, the First Amendment that says no law respecting an establishment of religion or prohibiting the free exercise thereof was not to make an adversarial relationship between God and a nation, but to prevent a tax-supported official religion, like the Anglican religion, for example, or the Lutheran, or wherever. If you look around the world, there's lots of Catholics and so on. And they wanted to not have a mandatory, because you tax something and you get behavior, okay?
Yeah, and you also then have a specific religion, and you divide on the keys to theology and debate what the government pushes their own keys to theology, and now you can't worship where, how, or what you may, right?
But here's the problem. We have an established religion in America.
It's just no religion now. It's the godless, humanist religion.
It is the humanist religion. It is what is taught under tax dollars in our public education system incessantly. It has become a civil religion. It's a religion, it's a faith-based belief system that has no divine deity. It has a belief in man's learning and wisdom. And we, in spite of, and in fact, if you look at the humanist manifestos, you find they call themselves religious humanists. And that's the problem. Is we have established a religion in the United States that does not recognize a divine God, and it is foisted upon us, and we get these perverse misunderstandings that constantly are fostered in the media and the political arena. The machinations on this is unbelievable, and so we have basically taken the greatest of efforts to expunge the original religiosity of the nation. And
which was, let's not divide on the keys to theology, but let's recognize there's a creator, and that creator's above government, and think about that God, how you choose, or that creator, or that supreme being, or that nature's God, however you want to define it, but know there's a greater source, and it isn't by accident, and it isn't government. And they have basically changed it and basically turned a godless government reality. And anybody who speaks out in religion, they say, oh, you're supposed to have separation or divide this and that. No, the government's not supposed to establish a religion, but we're free to use our religious beliefs anywhere we are in the public square. If I'm in office, I can use my moral code based on my religious beliefs. In fact, they said if we don't have a moral and a religious people, our country's inadequate to keep stability and keep our country going. And now we're losing our country because we've lost those pillars.
Absolutely, and people need to recognize that the references to God, there are 4 references in the Declaration, for example, and you can find the origin of those things. If you've read Blackstone's Commentaries, his first volume spends an extensive amount of time explaining the laws of nature and nature's God. It is the divinity that created us. It's not some volcano they're going to throw a virgin into as a sacrifice, as some pagan organizations would. And this all about all men being created equal, endowed by their creator. These things turn to the divine.
And created equal doesn't mean that we're all born exactly identical or anything else. It just means we have equal standing before God to make our choices, to use our agency, and we're blessed with inalienable God-given rights. We have a degree of sovereignty, and we delegate that sovereignty to government, and therefore we're the creators in this sense, and government is the creation. And so it sets up the order of things, if you will, when you understand the founders, their Christian beliefs, and our focus on God, not government, kind of a thing. So anyway, I believe Neil was trapped. I don't know how he really feels about it. I think he answered the best way he could. I disagree with him 100%, but I do understand his point. And no matter what, it'd be trapped, though, because the way she said it, hey, do you believe we're a white Christian? And it's just a trap, doctor. And I think that he... there's no way to answer. What he should have done was picked apart her argument, though, and handed her her head, not literally, but figuratively, saying, listen, why are you bringing white into this? Why are you dragging a racial discussion into if we're a Christian nation or not? Okay, anyway, in my opinion, it was intentionally designed to try to trap the justice.
Well, here's my disappointment, is that the Supreme Court justice isn't fast enough on his feet to come up with that concept. I mean,
Well, that's what I would have done. I would have said, listen, ma'am, how dare you mix this together? Shame on you. What does race have to do with it? First off, God, and yes, we're a Christian nation, God said that, you know what, we're his children and he loves us. And he gives every one of us our agency to choose right and choose God and prosper, or choose the opposite. And I'm telling you right now that, yes, indeed, we're a Christian nation. Were there primarily a lot of white men involved? Yes, there were. Let's not play games. Do I believe in slavery or racism? Absolutely not. And your suggestion in bringing up racism in this discussion is a disgrace to your understanding, ma'am. Why don't you resign from the news business because you're a clown? That's what I would have told her. But see, then I would have getting kicked off everywhere from Sunday. But, I mean, I'm being truthful because I don't believe it was an honest question. It was an absolute trap, intentionally set, and it was just wicked. It was evil.
it was indeed, and that's basically, they take people's words. I think Isaiah talked about that, making a man an offender for a word. Black is called white.
Yes, sir.
Light is for darkness, and darkness for light, and good for evil. Isaiah spoke of these twisted days where you make a man an offender for a word. But, appealing to the supreme judge of the world. I mean,
we should always do that. In our personal decisions, in our family decisions, in our country decisions. Yes, indeed.
And divine providence. I mean, these things are absolutely embedded in our foundation. And the religiosity, I wish there were time, and I know there, a lot of times we get so many interesting subjects, but Washington's proclamation that he was basically directed by the joint sessions of the House when they set forth the Bill of Rights for ratification of the states, which included what became our First Amendment. And they told him, we need a day of thanksgiving and prayer. And boy, Washington's proclamation is magnificent. I believe that it should be read in any of your most sacred settings, whether it's your family at 4th of July.
Yeah, and if you read
Christmas
that,
time.
how do you say that at least George Washington, the first president and the greatest general, in my opinion, the world's ever known, at least one of them, my logic is, how do you read that and not think clearly he believed we were a Christian nation? George believed it, and read that proclamation to know. I mean, it's just, when you read it, there's just no debate.
Absolutely. And the problem is that they're resetting all history, the revisionists, the perversions, and they start from the very foundation and calling Franklin and Jefferson deists. And yeah, they didn't have exactly the Nicene Creed in their hearts all the time, but they surely believed in God. And in fact, Jefferson went so far as to say that the moral basis of the nation is founded, and most purely founded, upon the words of Jesus Christ. I mean, we can come to this from any number of
Even
angles.
a deist believes in a higher power and in the creation, right? They just believe eventually that God got, kind of walked away and left it to its own devices, which I completely disagree with. But see, now we're getting into the keys to theology. What the point is, whether you're a deist or not, whether you're, you say Jesus Christ or not, the fact is they believed in a higher power, and it absolutely was not government. And they believed that the moral code came from that higher power, and that moral code and that higher power is who gave us authority to create government in the first place, and gave us sovereignty that we could delegate. So we can play games about deists if we want to, but that in and of itself is another dishonest trap.
No question. And,
come on now, people, learn to critically think, for heaven's sakes. Who the heck are we? Come on, we're God's children on earth, and we better stand for the sacred cause of liberty, or we're going to lose it. I'm telling you right now, it is about Jesus Christ. He lives, he loves us, he's going to return, and it's up to us to become a people prepared to meet him when he does. I'm just saying. All right, Dr. Bradley with me, freedomsrisingsun.com, his website. We're going to talk about his webinar last night too, though, next episode. Stay tuned. I'm Sam, he's Scott, you're you. Thanks for being alongside for the ride. LibertyRoundtable.com, freedomsrisingsun.com, and God Save the Republic.